Okay, our next guest is an award-winning humorist. Her books, Let's Pretend This Never Happened and Furiously Happy, were both New York Times #1 bestsellers. She's been blogging about her life for over a decade and is beloved for her candor in sharing her experiences with mental illness. Jenny Lawson joins us now to chat about her latest book, Broken in the Best Possible Way. And Jenny, you say this is your most personal book yet.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I shared a great deal more than I was maybe comfortable with right at the time, but I'm very glad that I did. By the way, this is Hunter S. Tomcat, and he will not get out of my lap. He is my organic anti-anxiety medication.
We demand that Hunter stays with us, so I'm so happy he is here. Yes, he stays. Now, why do you think your book and your blog resonate with so many people, Jenny?
I think it's because when I first started writing about dealing with mental illness, with depression and anxiety, that was more than a decade ago, and people were a little more hesitant to talk about it. I was very afraid to write about it. So when I finally did come out and say that I had these struggles, I was shocked at thousands of people who came out and said the same thing. They were like, me too. And I thought I was the only one. And I also feel, worthless. And I also listen to those lies that depression tells.
It's incredible. But I think that it's probably hard to be that honest. Is it ever scary for you to just put it all out there?
It is. It's terrifying every time. I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they're starting to realize that mental illness is such a common thing, and that even if they haven't dealt with it personally, they probably know and love someone who is dealing with it or who will deal with it. But it is always a little scary, especially when you talk about, I have treatment-resistant depression, which is a really deep level of depression, which I think some people could kind of look at and be like, oh, I don't understand that. And I have, trichotillomania, where I, pull my hair excessively. And I have, all sorts of little things that I've shared. And each time I think this is going to be the thing that pushes people away, where they're going to say, oh no, she's really crazy, not just regular crazy. And people they always understand. I think we need to give people more credit for understanding and for having compassion.
Your book resonates, and one of the most interesting descriptions in the book is you explaining how your brain gaslights you during depression. You need to remind yourself that your brain is lying when you're experiencing an episode, and even during transcranial magnetic stimulation, your brain's being tapped. You would record your reaction so you had proof the treatment was working. So not only do you have mental illness, you have to keep convincing yourself that you have it so you can cure it. And this sounds exhausting.
Yes, yeah. There's something about depression, the way that it lies to you, where it just says, this is just the way you are naturally, is you're just exhausted. You don't deserve medical care. The money that you're spending on antidepressants is taking away from your family. You're never going to get better. And that's the way that it lies to you. And people succumb to those lies. For a third of the people, it doesn't do anything. A third of the people, it helps. A third of the people go into full remission. So I was in that middle ground. But yeah, I would constantly have to sort of check myself to see, well, where really am I? And I would all of a sudden find things that, for example, when I'm in a really deep depression, I can't listen to music because my depression makes me feel very numb. And so when I would listen to music, there was this cognitive dissonance of like, I should be feeling something and I don't, and that actually makes it worse. So I could go for months and months without listening to music. And after about, I think 6 weeks of TMS, all of a sudden I thought, I'd like to listen to music. And I was singing along to it. And then I just started crying because it was such a small thing that I think people take for granted. But once it came back, you realize all of a sudden it's like breathing for the first time when you've been underwater and you come out and you're like, oh, I remember, this is what this is like. And you have to have those moments, and maybe not record to give to the rest of the world, but at least record for yourself. You remember that these moments happen and that you can come out again. Because every single time I'm in a depression, no matter how many times I've gone through it, I always, even though I know I'll come through, I always have this feeling of like, but what if I don't? What if I'm never funny again? What if I can't write again? What if this never goes away?
I learned so much from this book, and what I learned from this interview is we all need to find a cat like Hunter that looks at us like he looks at you. Get the book and get a cat like Hunter. Thank you so much for joining us, Jenny. Congratulations on this book. Broken in the Best Possible Way is out now.